Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zenokilla of Ta, here with another wonderful StarCraft game. We got a little 2v2 action going on. We have our Ta member Adrenaline, and let's get started. Throw up the nameplate real quick. Or not. Where's that? I won't let you throw up the nameplate in 2v2. Anyway, let's take a look at what we got going on. We have Adrenaline up here at the top. NoMoreGames down here at the bottom. We have our Zerg player Dildeaux, it looks like. And WithStyle over here in the corner. Adrenaline appears to be going for fast tanks. Always an easy strategy for Terran players to go into. You get some tanks, some Marines, and a couple medevacs, and you are good to go. Gotta love the teamwork. Communication is the key in life and in StarCraft with your teammates. As long as you know what the other person is doing, you'll be good to go. Got a pylon going up from NoMoreGames, pretty standard. Looks like Adrenaline's going to wall off. Always good to do. Probes, meeting in the middle of the map. Hey Joe, hey Joe. Got our little Scentipede. Poor little fella. So it looks like Adrenaline will be walling off, pretty standard when you have a Zerg player on the map. Little scouting, always want to make sure you keep an eye on that probe so he doesn't throw any pylons in the back of your base. Poor fella. Delayed mining for Dildeaux for just a little bit, but, you know, nothing too major. It was nice to get the probe. Another probe right in the base, though. Wrong base. I don't know why WithStyle sent his probe down to his friend's base, but what can you do? It looks like Dildeaux going for 14 pool. We got NoMoreGames over here. Hasn't quite built anything yet. Throws down a refinery. Got the pylon at the front. Gateway at the front. Pretty standard opening. We got Adrenaline throwing down the racks at the front of the base. Easy to wall in there. Stick a couple Marines. Block the ramp. And over here, our other Terran player, WithStyle. Looks like he's going for 2 racks opening. Pretty standard. Getting the gas. And our Zerg player hasn't grabbed an Expo yet. Going straight into pool. Etc. etc. He's got the Overlord out. 2 Overlords for scouting, so he'll definitely be able to see any early aggression from either of his 2 opponents. We got Adrenaline going factory. He might be going for a 1-1-1 build. We could look to see a starport coming from him. He's got a satellite dish up, be able to call down those mules. Second refinery going. Probably a gas-heavy bid, so we'll at least see some tanks, as he mentioned. Protoss player going for the second gas. Pretty standard. Cybernetics core. Terran player swapping out the labs. Getting the satellite dish a little late, but still on 1 gas. Hasn't fully saturated yet either. Definitely something you want to do. Ideally, you're going to have 3 SCVs per gas. You have to throw another one on there. So now we got Tech Lab coming out. We got 1 Marine coming out. He's going to join some Lings with his other 3 brothers. So maybe a little Marine Ling early aggression, or possibly just defense. Because if your opponent, you block this area right in here, create a nice little choke point, block both of your ramps. So you got a factory, tank coming out, but unfortunately he's supply block, so you got a depot coming down over there. You got both gases fully saturated for Adrenaline. Looks like he's throwing down another factory, yep, following his stated build order of fast tanks. So some Marine tanks, Sentries, Zealot out there, warping in a Robo. And an expansion. He's the first of the 4 players to go for an expansion, where we got a little Marine Marauder harass going on. Still 1-1, no upgrades yet, but we can see Adrenaline here is going for siege tech. Concussive shells for the Marauders make them very effective at countering stalkers. It's like he got the signal to hold up a second, so we got some Lings, got a Roach or 2. Gonna move towards NoMoreGames base, but you can see here he's walled off. I think you might be able to fit 1 unit in between the 2 of those, but he might be just fully walled off. He's got that pylon down there, making it easier for him to get the warp gate out. Just done now. See, he's throwing down 2 more gateways. Cybernetics core, smart, going for the observer so he can get a little bit of map vision. If you had it out, he could see these Roaches, Lings, Marauders, and Marines on his way. Gonna completely destroy these sentries. Wisely warping in a little bit. If they can take out that pylon, that'll limit his NoMoreGames ability to warp anything in. Force field's not doing a whole lot. Lost the pylon. The sentries are going to go down. Probe comes in. NoMoreGames is going to be in trouble unless he can get some help from his friend. We got 2 siege tanks coming out just at a range. So he might not be able to save that Nexus. It's going to be blue, and it looks like Purple's playing an early GG. Oh, Nexus goes down. Roaches completely murder that probe. But it's got 3 siege tanks on the map, and they will not be able to charge up and bust through these buildings right away. But we still have reinforcements streaming across the map. More roaches. Don't forget that the Marauders have concussive shells upgrades. They're going to get through this Cybernetics core quickly, but that Immortal should be able to handle some of the roaches. As soon as that building goes down, it's going to limit the ability of NoMoreGames to wall off. We have 3 tanks coming up, but these tanks are vulnerable. You have to have Marines with them to support them, or else these Marauders will just destroy it. Now we lost all 3 tanks, 2 Marines. Now it looks like Adrenaline Investigator's base run. Why people holding on for dear life, but smartly, these tech labs have about 200 HP. So the supply depot is 400 HP. So if you're looking to break down the wall, forget the supply depot, go for the building attachments. So we got still a little bit of Roach Stalker. NoMoreGames might doing well, but severely outnumbered. Again, more units streaming across the map. Got Roaches. Couple more tanks. Gonna shoot and run, shoot and run. I don't know how effective they are. We got 2 roaches, there's 2 siege tanks. 2 siege tanks should be able to hold them off, and they do. But on the back foot, NoMoreGames. He's got 3 zealots. As long as he can outrange the zealots if they're microed properly, especially with concussive shells. But that Immortal should be able to destroy them handily. Still got more units streaming across the base. We got about a dozen lings going to come into the action. Those siege tanks should be able to pick them off. Adrenaline wisely rebuilding his wall in. With those lings right into the base of NoMoreGames, and those lings, in the words of HD StarCraft, are going to completely molest that mineral line. NoMoreGames rebuilding his cybernetic core, wisely pulling all of his probes off. Hopefully these zealots will be able to, but there is not a lot of room in there to maneuver. So hopefully these zealots and immortals will be able to corner these lanes before they get any more probes. But it's just a relentless march. Roaches going back the other way for some odd reason. The observer there is still able to see the impending doom coming. We got 4 siege tanks, but still no Marines to defend them, leaving the siege tanks extremely vulnerable once the roaches get close enough. See, now that we've got the zealots tanking damage in the front of the tanks and outrange and throw some hurt in from the back, and it looks like things are starting to swing the other way in favor of our team Adrenaline, who's throwing down his Expo. NoMoreGames, who's just sort of rebuilding. Not doing a whole lot, not producing any units, just kind of chilling. As they push across the map, we got 4 tanks, 8 zealots tanking the damage, Mortal, and 2 sentries slowly moving their way across the map. Tanks go into siege mode. Gotta be careful though, because the splash damage affects them also. Looks like Adrenaline is throwing down some mules for little or no effect. Maybe he's going to try to repair the tanks with them, but that's not working out too well. So the push, we got 4 tanks, 2 zealots left, 2 sentries, spawning, moving right into the natural expansion of Dildeaux. Get a siege up and just start raining down the train. That hatchery is about to go bye-bye. Loses 1 or 2 tanks, not such a big deal. Oh, and now the SCV's coming out. Ah, that's rough. One of the tanks almost dead. WithStyle drops out, Dildeaux drops out, and we have a well-fought game for Adrenaline and NoMoreGames. Pretty easy, one team rushes the other team. Can't quite come with enough force, so Adrenaline able to use his tanks along with NoMoreGames' zealots, and make a push back across the map. Thank you very much for tuning into this game, and I look forward to seeing you all in the future. Xenokilla signing out.